One innocent sentence to your real estate agent could cost you $50,000 or more. Right now, thousands of home buyers are making these deadly mistakes and watching their dream homes slip away because they said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Are you about to become one of them? The real estate game changed dramatically in August 2024, and if you do not know the new rules, you are walking into a financial disaster. Some agents are now using buyer information against them more than ever before, and what you say could determine whether you get that house or lose it to someone who stayed quiet. Stay with me because I am about to reveal the 7 things you should never, ever tell your real estate agent when buying a home. These are not just suggestions. These are survival tactics that could save you tens of thousands of dollars. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to keep to yourself and what information could be used against you. Trust me, your wallet will thank you. Let me ask you something. Would you tell a car salesman exactly how much money you have in your bank account before you start negotiating? Of course not, so why would you do it with a real estate agent? Here is the shocking truth. You should never share your complete financial picture with your real estate agent. Never tell them how much money you make, what you have saved in the bank, or your exact credit score. This information is none of their business, and here is why it matters. When you tell an agent your budget is $500,000, but then mention you make $200,000 a year and have $300,000 in savings, what do you think happens next? Some agents see dollar signs and start showing you properties that cost $600,000, $700,000, or even more. They know you can afford it, so they push you toward the expensive stuff. A recent industry report shows that agents who fail to leverage technology properly may miss out on critical follow-up opportunities. But the bigger issue is when they use personal information to pressure buyers into higher-priced homes. The only person who needs to know your complete financial situation is your lender. That is it. Your real estate agent only needs to know 2 things. Are you pre-approved for a loan, and how much did you qualify for? Nothing more, nothing less. But here's where it gets tricky. Some agents will pressure you for this information. They might say they need it to serve you better or to know what you can afford. Do not fall for it. A professional agent can help you find homes within your pre-approved budget without knowing your personal financial details. Think about it this way. If an agent knows you have money in the bank, they might not negotiate as hard on your behalf. Why would they fight for a lower price when they know you can afford the asking price? Your financial privacy is your protection in negotiations. Now let's move on to something even more dangerous. Telling your agent about urgent life situations that create pressure to buy quickly. This is where buyers lose the most money, and it happens more often than you might think. Never immediately share details about divorce proceedings, job transfers, apartment lease endings, or any deadline that forces you to buy fast. Why? Because this information turns you into prey for aggressive sales tactics. Here's how it works. You tell your agent you are getting divorced and need to move out in 60 days. Suddenly, when a seller demands you waive the home inspection or pay $20,000 over asking price, your agent might say something like this. You know what? You really need this house. You are going to be homeless if we do not accept this offer. Real estate agents should not be giving financial or legal advice to clients, as this creates conflicts of interest, but using your personal situation to pressure you into bad deals is equally problematic. But here is the worst part. Some buyer agents actually tell the listing agent about your desperate situation. They might say, "My client really needs this house, so I am sure I can convince them to accept your seller's terms." Now you have zero negotiating power because everyone knows you are under pressure. The listing agent and seller will use this against you. They know you have a deadline, so they will not budge on price or terms. They might even add more demands because they know you will probably accept them. Does this mean you can never share important information with your agent? No, sometimes you have to, but only share what is absolutely necessary and only when the timing is right. If you find yourself working with an agent who uses your personal situation to pressure you into accepting bad offers, fire them immediately. A good agent protects your interests, not manipulates your circumstances. Moving on to our next major mistake. Never tell an agent you are working with multiple agents when you first meet them. This single sentence can destroy your chances of getting good service. When you say, "I am working with a couple of different agents," you just told them you are not committed. Why would they spend their time, gas money, and effort showing you houses when you might buy with someone else? They would not, and honestly, most agents should not. Think about it from their perspective. Real estate agents only get paid when a deal closes. If they spend 10 hours showing you houses and you buy with another agent, they get nothing. Zero. That is why telling them about other agents is like telling them their time might be wasted. But here's the deeper problem with working with multiple agents. You are not actually getting better service or seeing more houses. Most agents in the same market see the exact same properties on the multiple listing service. Unless one agent has exclusive access to off-market properties, you are looking at the same inventory. Many agents want to start on their own, but miss the opportunity to learn from experienced teams, and working with multiple agents can dilute the quality of service you receive. The exception is if you are looking in completely different markets. If you are considering homes in both Dallas and Austin, you would need local agents in each city because they are experts in their specific areas. But having 3 agents all showing you homes in the same neighborhood? That is a recipe for confused communication and poor service. Here is what happens when agents know you are shopping around. They put you on the back burner. When a great property hits the market, they call their committed clients first. You get the leftover appointment times and the properties that have been sitting on the market for weeks. Instead of juggling multiple agents, research and choose one good agent who knows your market inside and out. Interview them, check their references, and make sure they understand your needs. Then commit to working with them exclusively. You will get better service, faster responses, and priority treatment when hot properties become available. If you think this was bad, the next mistake will embarrass you even more. Never mention Zillow estimates when talking to your real estate agent. This is one of the fastest ways to lose credibility and look like you have no idea what you are talking about. Here is why agents do not take Zillow estimates seriously. They are wildly inaccurate. These automated valuations do not account for property condition, recent renovations, neighborhood changes, or dozens of other factors that affect home values. Agents who fail to stay up to date on market trends may miss emerging patterns, but relying on Zillow estimates is worse than not knowing the market at all. When you walk into a meeting and say, "I saw on Zillow that this house is worth $50,000 less than the listing price, so I want to offer the Zillow amount," you just announced that you do not understand how real estate works. The agent will smile politely, but internally they are thinking you are not a serious buyer. Real estate agents have access to tools that give them accurate property values. They can run a comparative market analysis that shows what similar homes in the area have actually sold for in the past 3 to 6 months. This is real data from real transactions, not computer guesswork. If you want to know what a home is really worth, ask your agent to pull recent sales data from the multiple listing service. Look at homes with similar square footage, lot size, condition, and location that have closed in the past few months. This gives you the true market value, not some algorithm's best guess. Using Zillow estimates in negotiations is like bringing a toy gun to a real fight. You think you are prepared, but you are actually defenseless. Professional agents and experienced sellers know these estimates are unreliable, so basing your offer on Zillow data makes you look inexperienced and uninformed. But here's the bigger issue. If you do not understand how to determine property values, how do you know if you are getting a good deal? How do you know if you are overpaying? You need real market data to make smart decisions, and that data comes from your agent's professional tools, not from a website that makes money from advertising. Let us move on to one of the costliest mistakes buyers make. Never reveal your absolute maximum budget, especially for a house you love. This information will come back to haunt you in ways you cannot imagine. Here's the scenario. You tell your agent your budget is $400,000, but then you fall in love with a house and mention you could actually go up to $450,000 if needed. You think you are being helpful by giving your agent flexibility to negotiate. Actually, you just handed them ammunition to use against you. What happens next? First, your agent now knows you have $50,000 more to spend, so they might start showing you properties in the $450,000 range instead of the $400,000 range. Second, when you find another house you want to make an offer on, they remember you were willing to pay $450,000 before, so they push you toward that higher number again. But the real danger comes during negotiations. Let us say you are in a multiple offer situation on a house listed at $420,000. Your agent knows you can go up to $450,000, so they might pressure you to bid close to your maximum right away instead of starting lower and negotiating up. Poor communication can break deals, and agents who communicate unclearly with clients often lead to misunderstandings and lost trust. Here's the worst part. Some agents will use this information to justify showing you more expensive properties forever. Every time you look at houses, they remember that you are willing to spend more money, so they keep pushing you toward higher-priced options. Now, there is a time and place to reveal you have more budget flexibility. If you are in a competitive situation and need to make a strong offer, that is when you can tell your agent you have more room to negotiate. But revealing your maximum budget early in the relationship gives away your negotiating power for no good reason. Instead, stick to your original budget and only reveal additional flexibility when it is strategically necessary. Your agent should be fighting to get you the best possible deal within your stated budget, not constantly trying to get you to spend more money. Remember, a house is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Just because you can afford to pay more does not mean you should pay more. Protect your financial information and use it strategically when it benefits you, not when it makes your agent's job easier. Moving forward to our next critical mistake. Never show too much excitement about a property while you are inside the house, and never criticize it either. Both reactions can cost you money, but for different reasons. Here is something most buyers do not know. Many homeowners now have security cameras and recording devices throughout their homes. Even though it is not legal for them to record you without permission, it happens anyway. When you walk through a house gushing about how perfect it is, those comments might be heard by the seller. Buyers need to watch vigilantly for signs of real estate fraud and protect themselves during transactions. And this includes being aware that your conversations might be monitored. If the seller hears you say, "This is exactly what we have been looking for. We have to have this house," what do you think happens to their negotiating position? They know you are emotionally attached, so they are less likely to accept a lower offer or make concessions on repairs or closing costs. But showing negativity can be just as damaging. When you walk through a house complaining about the outdated kitchen, the small bathrooms, or the landscaping, you might think you are building a case for a lower offer. Actually, you might be destroying your chances of getting the house at all. Sellers are emotionally attached to their homes. When they hear potential buyers criticizing their choices and improvements, they take it personally. They might decide they do not want to sell to you regardless of your offer price. Here is what you should do instead. Keep your reactions neutral while you are inside the property. Save your opinions and discussions for when you are away from the house, preferably in your car or back at your agent's office. This way you can speak freely without worrying about who might be listening. Your agent needs to hear your honest thoughts about each property, but the seller does not. Tell your agent what you loved and what concerns you, but do it in private where your comments cannot be used against you in negotiations. This rule applies to virtual showings too. Some sellers listen in on virtual tours, and others record them for later review. Treat every showing, whether in person or virtual, as if the seller can hear everything you say. Think of it like playing poker. You do not want the other players to know if you have a great hand or a terrible hand. Keep your cards close to your chest until you are ready to make your move. Before we wrap this up, you need to understand something that changed everything in August 2024. The real estate industry implemented new rules that affect every home buyer in America. Real estate agents who use multiple listing services are now required to enter into written agreements with buyers before touring a home. This means you now have to sign a buyer agency agreement before your agent can show you any properties. This agreement must include exactly how much your agent will be paid and by whom. This is actually good news for buyers because it creates transparency about costs and services. But here is what you need to know. The agreement must specifically disclose the amount or rate of compensation an agent will receive, and it must be objective, not open-ended. This means your agent cannot say their fee depends on what the seller offers. They have to tell you exactly what they will charge. These changes happened because the National Association of Realtors reached a settlement agreement that prohibits offers of compensation being communicated on multiple listing services. Before this change, seller compensation offers were automatically visible to buyer agents. Now, compensation discussions happen outside the MLS system. What does this mean for you? You might now be responsible for paying your buyer agent directly instead of the seller covering that cost. Payment of the buyer's agent's commission may now come out of the buyer's pocket, which will be difficult for first-time home buyers. This is why protecting the information you share with your agent is more important than ever. When you might be paying their fee directly, you need to make sure they are working in your best interest, not trying to maximize their commission at your expense. The good news is that these new rules create more transparency in the buying process. You know exactly what services your agent will provide and how much you will pay for those services. But it also means you need to be even more careful about the information you share and the agent you choose to work with. As we reach the end of our discussion, let me give you the most important advice for navigating today's real estate market. The key to success is information control and strategic thinking. Remember these 7 critical rules. Never share your complete financial picture with your agent. Only tell them your pre-approved loan amount. Keep urgent personal situations private unless absolutely necessary for the transaction. Work with one committed agent instead of shopping around. Never mention Zillow estimates when discussing property values. Protect your maximum budget and only reveal flexibility when strategically beneficial. Keep your emotions neutral when touring properties, saving honest discussions for private moments. The real estate landscape has changed dramatically, and buyers who understand these new rules will have significant advantages over those who do not. Only about 13% of real estate agents stick around for more than 5 years because most don't understand what it truly takes to succeed, which means many agents are inexperienced and might not have your best interests in mind. Your protection comes from being informed, staying strategic, and working with a professional who respects your interests above their own commission. The new buyer agency agreements actually help you by creating clear expectations and preventing agents from putting their interests ahead of yours. But here is the bottom line. Buying a home is probably the largest financial transaction of your life. Every word you say and every piece of information you share can impact the outcome. The agents who succeed long-term are the ones who build trust by protecting their clients, not the ones who use client information for their own benefit. Knowledge is power in real estate negotiations. Now you have the knowledge to protect yourself and make smart decisions. Use it wisely, and you will save thousands of dollars while getting the home you really want. Remember, in today's market, the informed buyer has all the advantages. You now know what to say, what not to say, and how to protect your interests throughout the entire process. Go out there and find your dream home, but do it smart.